The reality of eye pokes in MMA, a deep dive into fighter safety and glove design. Imagine stepping into the octagon, surrounded by the roar of the crowd and the palpable tension of the moment. You're ready to fight, adrenaline pumping through your veins, but what happens when a seemingly innocent move becomes your worst nightmare? One small poke to the eye can change everything. Today, we're peeling back the layers of a shocking reality, the prevalence of eye pokes in MMA and how the design of gloves has sparked a fierce debate about fighter safety. Stay tuned as we uncover the hidden dangers behind this brutal sport and why the choice of equipment could be leaving fighters vulnerable in the cage. Early days of MMA gloves. The history of mixed martial arts, MMA, is rich and complex, tracing back to bare-knuckle bouts where the rules were as sparse as the protective gear. Fighters entered the cage with nothing but their bare fists and an iron will. This lack of regulation meant that eye pokes and other brutal tactics were commonplace, creating a chaotic battleground. While viewers were captivated by the rawness and unpredictability of these fights, injury rates soared, raising critical concerns about fighter safety. As the sport began to evolve, so did the call for some measure of protection. The introduction of gloves marked a significant turning point, transitioning MMA into a more regulated and organized arena. However, the first iterations of gloves were not without their flaws. Designed primarily for striking and grappling, they lacked the sophisticated safety features that modern equipment boasts. In an era where fighters wore gloves mainly for aesthetic appeal rather than protection, they found themselves in perilous positions. The absence of padded and structured support allowed for effective punching and grappling, but it also left fighters vulnerable to injuries from eye pokes. What began as a necessary innovation soon spotlighted troubling flaws, as fighters began to experience the ramifications of designs that didn't prioritize their safety. This early era of MMA gloves shaped the ongoing discourse surrounding fighter safety standards and set the stage for future modifications amid a growing awareness of the sport's harsh realities. While the introduction of gloves had transformed the conflict into a more organized spectacle, the struggle against injuries, especially from eye pokes, was just beginning. As the sport faded into the background of popularity, it became evident that the issue of glove design would soon become a pressing topic of discussion. Evolution of equipment. The late 1990s marked a significant turning point for MMA as the sport began to gain mainstream traction. Evolving from raw, bare-knuckle brawls to a more regulated environment highlighted the glaring need for protective equipment. Enter the first generation of MMA gloves, lightweight, fingerless, and designed to allow fighters to grapple while still providing some level of protection. Initially, these gloves were more of an afterthought, primarily focused on maintaining the fighter's grip rather than safeguarding against injuries like eye pokes. As the popularity of MMA grew, so did concerns over fighter safety. With increasing scrutiny from media and fans alike, promotions began pushing for improvements in equipment. This led to the emergence of brands that recognized the flaws in the initial glove designs. They were too thin, too flexible, and didn't adequately address the potential for eye pokes. The infamous soft fingertips became a hot topic, sparking debates about whether they enhanced the excitement of fights or contributed to injuries. Gradually, manufacturers began experimenting with glove shapes and padding distribution. By 2010, the MMA landscape saw a transition to more ergonomically designed gloves that aimed to better protect fighters without sacrificing mobility. Companies incorporated firmer padding at strategic points, but many felt this wasn't enough. Fighter feedback drove the demand for solutions that could provide protection against strikes while drastically reducing the risk of unintended eye pokes. Despite these advancements, skepticism remained among fighters. Discussions about the UFC Fighters Union reignited debates over glove design, a key focus for the future. Prominent fighters like Daniel Cormier and John Jones called for major re-evaluations of equipment safety, leading to increased collaborations between fighters and equipment manufacturers. Every ring seemed to cry out for the perfect balance of protection and performance. However, the evolution of glove design was not just about aesthetics. It transformed into a pressing health and safety issue, one that would continue to influence the fabric of MMA for years. What innovations would come next, and would they finally bring an end to the troubling frequency of eye pokes in the octagon? Controversies unveiled. The conversation surrounding eye pokes in MMA reached a boiling point as both fighters and fans voiced their frustrations over the protective gear. In recent years, it seemed each major event brought with it another high-profile incident, a thumb slipping into an eye, fighters landing in unexpected injuries that not only halted the fight but left lasting scars on their careers. Many fighters expressed concerns that current glove designs might encourage careless hand placement during bouts. This raised a significant question: are some athletes using the glove structure to their advantage, turning what should be an unintentional mishap into a tactical weapon? These accusations illuminated an uncomfortable truth: the line between competition and exploitation can blur. Social media buzzed with opinions, and fans became increasingly vocal. Former champions and rising stars joined the fray, insisting that immediate changes must be made to protect fighters in the cage. The question now loomed: is it simply about the gloves, or could there be a deeper issue within MMA culture concerning fighter safety? The stakes grew higher when commissions began investigating the recurrence of eye pokes, raising concerns about fighter health and the potential for long-term damage. As discussions heated up, the UFC found itself navigating a minefield, addressing safety, performance, and tradition all at once. Moreover, the UFC's reputation as a leading organization was also on the line. The choices made now could either enhance its credibility or undermine it irreversibly. With voices from every corner of the MMA community chiming in, the call for change became louder. But what would that change look like? And could the UFC, amid growing criticisms, truly find a solution that satisfies both fighters and fans? The narrative was shifting, and the urgency to bring eye poke prevention into the spotlight had never been more crucial. Alternatives available. As fighters, trainers, and fans grappled with the ongoing concerns surrounding eye pokes, innovative alternatives to traditional glove designs emerged, aiming to address these specific issues. One of the most talked about alternatives is the iconic Pride gloves, designed with a more closed-finger approach, enhancing fighters' safety while still allowing for grappling and striking maneuvers. Many enthusiasts credit these gloves with reducing the risk of accidental eye pokes during intense bouts. Another noteworthy contender in the market is Trevor Whitman's NX gloves. These gloves maintain the crucial dexterity needed for effective performance in the cage while boasting a unique structure that minimizes the chance of fingers extending towards opponents' eyes. Feedback from various fighters who have trialed these designs has been overwhelmingly positive, with many expressing relief at having a product that prioritizes both safety and performance. But the discussion doesn't stop there. Companies are continually evolving their designs based on fighter feedback, with prototypes and new materials aimed at enhancing safety without sacrificing usability. Customizable gloves are also being tested, allowing fighters to select specific features that cater to their fighting styles while addressing safety concerns. As we look at these alternatives, the question lingers: is the MMA world on the brink of a breakthrough in glove technology that could redefine safety standards? The journey to find the perfect glove may be ongoing, but one thing is clear: innovation is crucial in protecting fighters while allowing them to perform at their best. Recent developments and fan opinions. As 2024 progressed, the UFC's introduction of a new glove design ignited a wave of debate among fans and fighters alike. Initially met with excitement, fans hoped for a solution that would end the persistent issue of eye pokes plaguing bouts. Opinions on social media exploded, with some claiming the redesigned gloves could be a game-changer. However, as more fights took place with the new design, a troubling pattern emerged. Many fighters expressed frustration, finding that the gloves may not offer adequate protection against eye pokes. Star athletes took to their platforms, reiterating concerns that the gloves inadvertently make it easier for fighters to strike their opponent's eyes. Comments like, "It's just not working," flooded forums and comment sections, reflecting a shift in sentiment. Fans, while initially hopeful, began to share their disappointment about the perceived failure of the new gear. Some fans even proposed a radical idea, moving away from gloves altogether and adopting a revised set of rules to ensure greater safety. This sparked heated discussions about how the sport should evolve. Would less gear lead to a more strategic fight style? Or would it only increase the risks involved? As response videos and podcasts emerged, it was clear that the community was engaged, dissecting every aspect of the newly introduced gloves. The culture of mixed martial arts thrives on debate, and this situation proved no different. It seemed everyone had an opinion, with some advocating for a complete overhaul of the design or even bringing back older models due to a sense of nostalgia and reliability. Ultimately, the fan backlash against the new gloves highlighted a critical sentiment: the fight for safety is far from over, and it's a conversation that every fan, fighter, and organizer needs to partake in to ensure a secure future for MMA. Reverting to old standards. With the growing dissatisfaction surrounding the new glove designs, the UFC faced a turning point. After months of feedback from fighters and fans alike, the organization made a surprising announcement: they would revert to using the old glove design. This decision sent shockwaves through the MMA community. The old gloves, while not without their flaws, provided a level of familiarity and comfort that many fighters appreciated. This wasn't just a simple switch, it represented a larger conversation about fighter safety and the realities of the sport. Was the original design more effective at minimizing eye pokes? Some fighters believed so, recalling their experiences with the older gloves. The backlash against the new design highlighted a crucial factor in MMA: fighter safety must always come first. As the UFC navigated this complex landscape, it became clear that reverting to older standards was more than a practical decision, it was a reflection of the ongoing struggle to protect athletes while maintaining the integrity of the game. The question now loomed: would this change lead to a permanent solution, or were further adjustments still on the horizon? As the world of MMA continues to evolve, one thing remains certain: this topic will spark debate for years to come. In the realm of mixed martial arts, the evolution of gloves serves as a reminder of the fine line between safety and the spirit of competition. As fighters step into the cage, they deserve equipment that not only protects them but also enhances the fairness of the bout. With the recent decision to revert to older glove styles, it is clear that the UFC is still navigating this challenging terrain. So, as we continue to watch fights unfold, let's keep questioning: can innovation truly create a safer environment, or are we destined to confront these age-old issues time and again? The future of MMA hinges on the choices made today, and only time will tell if a true solution to the perils of eye pokes will ever emerge.